Inkie peeps, it's Adele from Inkie Quill, and today we are going to experiment with some things. We're trying a technique that I've only done on a layout, but we're going to try it on some pocket page cards. Now, if you're not a Project Life scrapbooker, you could easily apply this same technique to a layout. You could also do it on an art journal page. You could do it on a canvas, anything you want, but I'm going to have a try on some little cards. So what you will need for today are some sort of brush markers, or you could do the same thing just with ink, like mist sprays, but today I'm using the Mermaid markers that I bought a little while ago, and I haven't, in all honesty, I haven't really played with them a lot. I think it's because the journal, this one, the Dina Wakley one that I'm currently working in, is just, the paper is just blah, and it's, the Mermaid markers don't look good on it. I did that test page a little while ago. So that's what the Mermaid markers look like on this paper, and then that's what they look like on the watercolor paper, which is much nicer. So I've been wanting to try them out, but not in that journal. So you need some sort of ink. You could also, like I said, just use the mist sprays. You won't get as precise a splodging of your paint, but it will still do the same thing. Then you need some sort of cardstock. You could use mixed media paper. You could use, I'm using the Basil Marshmallow, my offcuts. Something to put it on. Like I said, you could just put this straight in your art journal if you wanted to. A trimmer, a spatula, and whoopsies, just crashing into things over here. Some modelling paste, texture paste, they're the same thing. You could also use whipped spackle, which is by Faber-Castell. Something you can put through your stencils. So they're the things that and of course you need like a scissors probably at some point, and maybe some adhesive, who knows. A heat gun is also handy. This is, I just have an old one from Stamping Up. I think you can grab just generic ones from craft shops. I know I've seen them at, might have seen, is it an American Crafts one? Might be at Spotlight, Aussie Peeps, if you're looking for it. Hairdryer does the same thing, or just some patience. I apparently don't have any patience, and I just can't wait for things to dry. It drives me nuts. Yeah, I have no patience whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is, oh, and I need a new blade on my trimmer. That's a job for later. So I'm just going to cut up my little strip, and these are just strips because I do the 9x12 layouts. I always have a 3-inch strip just hanging out, just hanging around. Now you don't, is that 3 inches? No. Oh, that must have been an 8.5 by 11 layout. So I was like, that's a bit thicker than usual. Now you could, if you wanted to, whoa, that was going to be a mistake there. You could, if you wanted to, do one big long strip and then cut it afterwards. I just think that we might just do a little one as well. I think it might be easier to do when they're already pre-cut, because then you don't have to worry about cutting through the layers of texture paste, which might get a little bit chunky. I think for today, how many have I got so far? I've got 8 big ones. Might do one more. Do this one. So you don't need the same number as me. I just want to show you a few different things. Now, in all honesty, I tried this technique once on a scrapbook layout, which will be on Inkie Quill at some point, and I really loved the way it looked, and I'm wondering if I can make it mini on a small page. Alright, so that's that. Oh, another thing I forgot to say you need, baby wipes often come in handy when working with texture paste. So now it's time to pick some stencils. Now, I'll tell you what I look for in a stencil when I do something like this. So obviously with a stencil, the bits that are open are the bits that the modelling paste is going to go in. So something like this one, because it has very little hearts on it, will only use a tiny bit of texture paste. So if you put this on the card, you are going to have the ratio of like texture paste to inks is probably going to be way more ink than there is texture paste. So you kind of want something a bit bigger than this, I feel. Anyway, I'm going to, this one might be good because although it has some small pieces, it also has a few big hearts, and if I positioned it so I made sure that I got a couple of those big hearts, I think that one might work. So I'm going to pick a few different ones and, like I said, just experiment with the results. This one has even, you can never have too many variegated mini heart stencils, can you? Oh look, there's another one. This one might be interesting to try because the hearts are even bigger, so we might compare the two heart ones. Numbers might look cool. I have this one that has outlines of all different numbers. That could look nice. That would work well actually as a card for Archie's birthday, I think. I have these word ones too. I think I might just try the numbers. And then these ones are quite thick stencils. These are from Fluttered by Designs, and a thicker stencil will make a bigger will make a bigger depth of field, I guess, between the texture paste and the background. It will also take a little bit longer to dry, so you know, why not? Let's try that one too. This one could be cool. Like I said, I'm trying a few different ones so you can see what stencils work with this technique and which ones don't. This one could be cool because you do the texture paste in here, and then I'm putting some mist and water at the top so it runs down, and it might go through this pattern really interestingly. So let's try that one. This is the stencil that I tried in the layout, and it worked really nicely, so I want to do that one. The bricks might be fun. I haven't used this stencil yet. It's so thin though. Holy mo! I think that actually might be too thin, because you do need some. That's the thinnest stencil I think I've ever touched in my life. You do need, so the Tim Holtz ones are thin, but they're still thicker than that. Ooh. Alright, let's continue. Circles are always fun. Oh, this one will be good. So this is another Flutterby one. This is a thick stencil. I find these thicker ones better for the texture paste than they are for sponging. So I'll try that one. And should I try a really... No, no. We could try that one. I guess it's similar to that. Let's see, what else do we have? Do you know what? This stencil I have never used, and I look at it every time, and I struggle a bit with working out what it will look like. I mean, I know what it will look like, but I struggle to know if it would look good. So I'm going to try that one based on the premises that I haven't really tried it before. That stencil one would go well as well. Alright. We'll see how that goes. This could be fun. This is a stencil by Dina Wakley, and it has these little comey bits. And I'm wondering if I just put texture paste at the top and combed it. I've never used this stencil as well. Let me know in the comments, what is your ratio of stencils that you've used to stencils that just look pretty in your collection? Because I reckon I'd probably be 70-30 maybe. I've used 70%, perhaps the other 30% I haven't, maybe, I think. I'm going to cheat as well. And, you know, I like to use my Use It Up journal. But my Use It Up journal is starting, well, this is the first Use It Up journal that isn't quite finished, but there's not a lot to go at the back. I really just need to sit down and do it. But there's not really any pages that don't have texture paste already on them. And so I think this one's retired and it just needs the final, like, prettifying some focal points and doodling and that type of thing. So that one I'm not really using. And then my other one, I don't know, I just feel like filling up this bad boy instead. So I might find, just a white page, I think. It's going to get pretty crazy, actually. I might use a few journals. I'm going to use this one. I'm sorry, did I ruin things? Alright, I don't know where I was up to because I caused a craft lunch and all the things came falling down, but I've got a few of my journals here that I'm going to put the texture paste in as well, because when I have a dirty stencil, why not put it somewhere else? I'm only going to do one on camera because I'm going to be getting up and down to go to the sink to wash these off. Always wash your stencils when you use modelling paste, texture paste. Because it will dry and it will change the shape of your stencils. If you use acrylic paint on them, it is okay to just leave it. Depending on how lazy I am, I usually clean it, but sometimes if I leave it too long, I don't clean it. But modelling paste you always have to clean. So my plan is to do something like this. I'm just going to get my card, put my stencil down. Some of them I might do the entire stencil. Others I might just kind of do bits and pieces, but I'm always going to try and do the top part because that's where I plan to put my ink, and I think that will look nicest. So I'm just going to spread it on like butter, just going to smush it. And there's lots of brands that do texture paste. I use Liquitex, which is honestly I use texture paste quite a bit, and this container I bought it before Archie was born, that's for sure. So I think I bought it, I may actually, I watched a haul video of this the other day. I have had this probably for 2 years because it was way before I was pregnant. So there you go. This, if you're only starting off, you do not need a container this big. I know it's more expensive to buy, technically, ratio wise, the smaller ones, but just buy a small container to check if you like it first before you get the big one, because I think it is quite expensive, the big one. I think this one could have been $40 possibly, maybe even more, but that's what, it's hard to see because it's white, but that's what it looks like. So I'm going to go do the rest of these now and then dry them with my heat gun, and then I'll be back. Oh, look what just got delivered, a little egg, thank you, and a cup of tea in my favourite mug. Alright, so I've texture pasted them all and I've dried them really well. The most important part for this is that they're dry. They've got to be dry, and be careful if you're using a heat gun for two things. First thing is, if you hold it too close, they start to bubble. Now I actually really like the look of it, and so I've purposely done it on, it's very hard to see, but there we go. I've purposely done it on this one so you can see it's all bubbly. I think it just adds to the texture of it. But be careful about that if you don't want it. Also be careful that they're dry all the way through, because quite often they can appear dry to the touch on top, but if you press down a little bit more you can tell they're still squishy underneath. I usually just give it a blast from the back as well. The best way to let these dry is to just let them dry instead of heat gunning them. So it's the kind of activity that you could do maybe before bed one night and then wake up the next morning and finish them off the next day. I think that's the best way to make sure that it dries all the way through. So now, so far, I'm really liking the stencil that's got the text on it, and it's very, very thick, so I think that one will work out well. I think this one, which is the stencil that I've done before, I'm trying to get it in the light so you can see, I think that'll work well because the ink will flow down really nicely. I'm interested to see how this one goes. It's just the cube one. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Now, I forgot to say also, you need a spray bottle. Just some water, and let's give it a go. I'm going to try this one first because I have doubles. So I went and did this next to my sink because it ended up actually being a bit tricky using so many stencils and trying to clean them straight away. I would recommend only using maybe like 2 stencils to start off with and doing 3 cards of each, just for the first time that you do it, because the texture paste, if it's thin on the stencil, it does dry really quite quickly. Another thing that you need is paper towels, which I don't have, so I'm going to get those and I'll be back. I forgot to say, to clean my stencils, I used to just use baby wipes, but now I find the easiest way is to actually just take them over to the sink. I put a shallow like plastic dish that I don't really care about, that I don't use for food, in the bottom of the sink. I turn the warm water on and just use barely any water, use a toothbrush to wash it like that, and then I just tip that out in a dodgy patch in the back of the backyard. So that's the easiest way I've found to clean the modelling paste off. I also just try to wipe as much of it off with the spatula and put it back in the container, just so that you don't waste it and you've got it for next time. So for this one, I think I'll go that way, and this is the experiment one. So first of all, let's get out the colours and see what I would like to use. I think to start off with, I'm just going to go with the tried and tested, these ones, which are Byron Bay, Blue Bottle, and Deep Sea. So all I'm going to do is spray some water up the top, spray a little bit in the middle, grab, this one, the caps always fall off these, which drives me nuts. Here we go. And just lightly squeeze it so a little bit comes out, and then grab this one and a little bit of this one over here. Oh, that was a lot of that one. Oh, I do it every time. There's a couple that do that. Drives me nuts. Right, and now I'm just going to grab my water and just kind of spray it down. Like so, and it's good to have the paper towel here to catch the other bits. Now, I could have put gesso on here first, which would have probably helped, just because I'm using a lot of water here, but you live and you learn. I'm just going to add a little bit more over here. You could also just use a wet paintbrush to help guide where you would like it to go, but I think that looks pretty cute. And then, let's see if this works. I don't know if it will. Can you, oh, you can splatter as well. And because you're splattering into the wet water, funny enough, it will kind of go, that's the technical term for it. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to leave that one, and then I'm going to show you a couple of things that I'd do with them. I might just give this one a quick blast because it's a little bit warm. It's a bit wet. What are my words doing today? And then I think I'll do another one real time, and then I might speed up the next few and talk over the top of them. That might be a bit easier so I can dry them as well. Alright, so I've actually done, I've dried this one, not completely, but pretty good for now. I think it'll just have to dry. See how wet that is on the background? That's why gesso acts as like a blocker to stop all of that liquid just absorbing right through. And you can tell the colours are a little bit dull when it's not gessoed. So I've tried something. I'm glad that I had two the same. And the reason why I love to do these real-time videos with you here over on Patreon is that I can experiment with you and not just tell you exactly what to do. We can try out different things, and I can show you what not to do, and not saying that this is wrong. I just want to see what it looks like with gesso, because the good thing about experimenting and not having all of the answers is that you can find something that maybe someone else doesn't like that you like, or that you like that someone else doesn't like. Have I just said the same thing twice there? Possibly. But I'm going to try it with the gesso. So I've just used the Liquitex clear gesso, and I'm going to use the exact same colours. We might all go this way. I'm going to spray up the top, a little bit of spray there. I just want to see, because I can't remember if I gessoed the this stupid thing. I can't remember if I gessoed the other one or didn't. And these are terrible when they're stored sideways, so I'm trying, it's just oozing out now. Already I can tell that I personally like this better. It has got a lot more colour on it, but in a moment we'll see I'll show you the difference in the two colours. You can see already it's quite different. Alright, I'm going to dry this one, and then we'll do some splatters so that it's the same. Splat, splat, splat. And some blue ones. There we go. Alright, and just be prepared for your hands to get messy with this. I'm going to dry this and then we'll compare them. Alright, here are the two. So this is gessoed, this is not gessoed. And you can see there's quite a difference in the colours. The first thing I notice is that this one is a lot lighter, and that will happen when you use gesso. Secondly, I feel like the colours are a little bit more like vibrant and bright. Zoom in so you can see. And the ink hasn't pooled and done these really dark patches. It's a lot more flowy on this one. So what I've done while I've been drying this one is I've actually gone through and gessoed all of the cards, except for this one, of course, but all of the cards that I've still got left to do, just because I like the more, it's a bit more watercolory, floaty, gentle. It's not as bright and harsh as that one. If you like this, go for it. So my tip, I hope you haven't started the project the same time I have, but my tip is to gesso before you do your stenciling. Or you can do like I did and do half gessoed, half not gessoed, and see which one you like. So they're the first two. I'm going to do another one now. Let's do this heart one. Now I can, I think it still could be wet in a few places, possibly. I need some paper towel. I'm going to use one paper towel for the dark colours and one for the light, just so I don't mix them together. I'm thinking for this one I'm going to use, this is the gold, I think it's gold, yes, so it's Falling Star, Pirate's Gold, and then Coral. So I would suggest when you start off to just sticking, like we talked about in a video, I think it was in August last year, we talked about warm colours, cool colours. Just stick to either warm colours on one, cool colours on one, because that's the way you don't get those muddy brown kind of areas. So here I'm going to spray, and then I'll probably start off with the Pirate's Gold colour. Put that up there. I don't know if I'll use the actual gold. We'll see how I go. Whoa, that kind of came out a little bit quicker than I expected. And then if you tilt it, yeah, see, this is working much better now with the gesso there. Sometimes you need to help it along a little bit by kind of helping the colours move around. You can tilt it. Oh, that looks so pretty. Just going to try and get those. You could also just use your finger and smush the colour around a little bit. Want it there. Whoa, how cool does that look? So I'm actually not going to heat gun the rest of these. I'm just going to do them. So I will do them real time, and I'm just going to leave them because there is a difference between I find that when you heat gun something, it often, I just want a bit more yellow in that middle, it often dulls the color a little bit. I'm not sure, could just be my imagination, but I just want to see what it looks like with just some air drying time. So I'm going to let that one dry. That's pretty. Now, while we're on the yellows, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be slightly brave, and I'm going to do yellows because I want to show you different kind of colour patterns and things. I'm going to try the yellow, so Pirate's Gold, Seaweed, and Byron Bay. I'm going to do the same thing. Bit of water. Actually, for this one, I'm going to do, whoops, I'm going to start on the side for something a bit different. And then a bit of the, oh, it's a lot of green, Adele. Oh, there we go. Now, be careful with these. If you squeeze them, it really comes out. So now, I'm going to go this way. Oh, that looks, my spray nozzle isn't really working very well. Now, I think I need a little bit more yellow for this one. And the water does really help it kind of move about your page, and then if you get a pulled bit that you don't want, you can just smush it off onto the paper towel. I'm not sure how I feel about that really solid line, so I'm going to grab some of the green. I love this down here. I'm just going to spray it a bit more. Also just put a bit more yellow up here because it's kind of determined to not do the yellow up there. I think I need to fill up my spray bottle as well. Oh, that looks beautiful. Alright, I'm actually going to just really quickly just do a little zap. because that one did have a lot of liquid on it. And yes, so there's that one. Let's try this one. And I know I said I was going to do one one that had dark colours, one that had light, but that hasn't worked out. I'm going to use jellyfish, starfish, and I'm going to try and mix my warm colours and my cool colours, and I'll show you what it looks like. So if you're, I think I need to fill this up as well, because when I tilted it, it goes off the nozzly bit. Come on. There we go. Alright, I'm going to do the pink, and then a bit of this colour, which is just like a nice purpley colour, and then the blue in here, and even a bit of blue there. Let's see what this one looks like. Oh, that's pretty. I feel like I need something else in there though. Maybe a little bit of the blue. And you can see the more ink that you have and the more that you twirl it around, it really gets stuck in those crevices. This is very, very pink, so I'm going to try and just calm it just a little bit with coral. Just a little bit. And that's that one. The thick stencils work really, really well. Alright, next up, the leafy one. Let's do the green, so Siren. I just can't get enough of this colour really. Byron Bay and maybe a tiny bit of Deep Sea. We'll see how we go. Alright, a little bit of my green. I know you're not going to believe this, guys, but I actually like dark green, like an emerald kind of colour. I don't even know if I need this one. I'm only going to put a tiny bit on the sides, I think. And now it's time for the magic. And with these darker colours, spraying it with the water will help kind of lighten them so that you can actually see the colour. You could also let this run into your Use It Up journal if you wanted to. Oh, that's pretty. That is my favourite so far. I don't know if the colour's coming up on camera. I don't think it's doing it justice, but it's this beautiful, beautiful green. So I'm going to let that one dry. Time for spots. Alright, I feel like we should do a really pinky, we'll go pink, coral, red, maybe that one, we'll see how we go. So let's try the sideways again, because I feel like I wasn't patient enough for sideways before. There's the pink. And come on. I feel like if you squeeze it, it doesn't come out at first, but then it really comes out. All right. And I think by letting it dry with lots of ink resting in between, you'll really get some more defined shapes. So I'm going to leave that one. And alright, so we've got this numbers one, and I'd really like to use this for Archie's birthday, and his colours, if you watched that video, were blues and oranges. So I'm going to try again to mix my cool colours and my warm colours. I'm going to go with Pirate's Gold, Byron Bay, and Blue Bottle. Yeah. I'm just going to go from the top. A bit of the yellow. Whoa, that was a lot of that colour. Oh dear. Alright. We're going to end up with green here, peeps. But that's okay. That's alright. We can make it work. And then I'm going to try and get any leftover ink to sit in those crevices. And I'm even going to help it along and just add a little bit more colour down here, just to really emphasize the numbers, I think. Where's my paintbrush? Here it is. Just going to blend that. Oh, my paintbrush was dirty. Oh, we're a bit grey down there. That's okay. Alright, so there's that one. So you can see it's quite easy to achieve a really impacting effect just by experimenting and playing with the way the water moves. For this one, I feel like they should be reds and pinks, kind of like that one that I did before, but I'm also going to add in this dark colour. So you can mix your cools and your warms. It's just about, I would pick cool and warm colours that are, ooh, we've got lots of ink there, that are close to each other on the colour wheel. So I probably wouldn't put red and green together, or purple and yellow is just, I've never made purple and yellow mix on the same page nicely. But if they're things like yellow and blue, they're very close together, and pinks and purples as well, they're very close together. And when you're spraying, if you spray, you can kind of direct it as well with which way you would like the ink to go, and that kind of, it does, sorry, I'm just concentrating on getting that flower done. It does kind of direct which colour comes out the most. So just then I sprayed more towards the purple, shooting that way. If I had sprayed from the top, the pinks and the reds would have been more, but by spraying directly where the purple is, it kind of makes it more purpley. That one is very pretty. Alright, we've got 3 to go. I'm just having a look, and I feel like I need one that's basically all yellow. This is my first video I'm filming for the day. This isn't a good start. I always do the really painty ones first. Why have I not learnt? Why? Alright, so I've got some yellow. I think I might do some of this coral colour and try and get a nice kind of sunsetty, sunshine type of look. Oh, that's pretty. Whoops. And you can move them around. Oh, I've got a bit of purple on there now too, which actually doesn't look too bad. I'm just going to run my finger over that corner, and it's given us a nice little purple tinge by accident. I'm going to leave that one like that because I like how bright it is, and I also like this white space. Then we've got another one of these zigzaggy ones. I think I might try the metallics because I haven't tried them yet. Let's do a dark one. So it's Blue Bottle, Deep Sea, and Black Hole. Now, do I shake these up? No. I think that was the mistake I did last time. Don't shake. We'll soon find out. Alright. I always prefer to do a lot of the light colour and then a little bit of the medium colour and then not too much, or apparently a lot of the darkest colour. Alright, let's see what this one looks like. Whoops. Okay, so I've got way too much of the black on there. Is it still metallic-y? I can't really work it out if it still is. I'm even going to go in and add some of my fave, the Byron Bay, just to see what that does. That'd be a really nice one for a boyish kind of, like I could see that on a teenager page with that blacky grey colour in there, like that. And then the last one is this smaller one that I just had. I'm going to try the gold because I haven't tried the gold. Let's just do the fave colours. So I'm going to go gold, which is Falling Star, Byron Bay, and I might do... should I be risky? Let's do it. This one could be disastrous, just putting that out there. Right, so this colour is just too beautiful. Alright, gold. My gold is very leaky. It's not a... I'm actually going to change it and do this blue one, I think. Too risky. Alright. Whoops. And again, we go, of course, we're going to make a greeny colour because yellow and green makes, yellow and blue makes green. And if you don't want it looking so streaky, you can always put colour just kind of randomly around. I'm not sure if I like the gold when it's been sprayed out, because it does lose the metallic kind of look. I'm still going to add some of the Pirate's Gold in. Let's see what that looks like. Come on. Yeah, this is the only one that I'm not a fan of. I don't know, it's just, it's a bit murky. Come on, Byron Bay, do your thing. Okay, this might improve it a bit. Drip it that way. Drip it that way. Alright, we'll let it dry. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to leave these now, try and go film another video with this, and then I'll finish this video in a couple of hours once they're all dried. Ta-da! They're not dry, let's be real. I couldn't wait that long, but they are pretty dry, and I love the way that they look. I think they look really fun, and they'd be nice to kind of either put in with your project life or to use them in journaling. They'd be great as well. I imagine using these because, of course, you can't write on this because it's very bumpy. So some things you could do is that you could stick some pre-made embellishments on them, like so. Ooh, and oh, Aaron's playing things. And you've got yourself a filler card done. So I hope you've enjoyed this little playtime tutorial. Let me know if you have the Mermaid markers and if you've given those a go, or if you use modelling paste and what your favourite technique to do with them is. This one is so wet. It's really, really wet. Whoa. I think I'm going to pop these onto my mixed media cart, so I've got them very handy, and I've got an idea for a couple of them to give to a friend as well. But that's it. Let me know if there's any products that you'd like me to kind of experiment with and see what I can do with. I want to do gelatos, Nuvo drops, what was the other one? There was another one too. Oh, embossing pens. They're the 3 that I want to do. I might film the embossing pens now, one now actually. But until next time, I will see you guys then. Bye!